I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk, and I'm not a jerk. Apparently, I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt's 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Let's add a the in front of that. The 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Why don't we make it a the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast, indicating that it is the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast, and also it is the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. I'm going to say the name of this as often as I possibly can to make sure that you all remember exactly what it is, and then you'll subscribe through iTunes, or you'll get the feed loaded up in Juice. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it helped one guy who wrote me this week. I turned to my friend Eric, who is producing this podcast, and said, I wrote him a letter. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what this guy is talking about, because he's one of the 7 people in America who owns a Zune. So he has to try to get my voice onto it somehow. And Eric, of course, being the crack technical guy that he is, went ahead and forwarded something to that guy. But the guy was like, sorry, good, already up in Juice. And Eric and I scratched our heads and went, all right, the guy's already up in fucking Juice. We don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm glad it's working out for him. So, sir, enjoy me in Juice. God, how great is that word, by the way, Juice. I love that word. Coming to you live this week from, can I say where you live, Eric? Yeah. I'm in Riverside, California. It's right next to Meth Lab City. I got to be honest. There's a lot of sadness in this town, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I see people working on cars that haven't run in years, just in the driveway with no shirt on, and or maybe a wife beater shirt on. And believe me, this is the place where that current term was coined, wife beater. Absolutely, it was coined in this town. As I drive by the roller rink and the miniature golf palace, because I'm in America now. Down in Hollywood, it's all goofy. It's all movie theaters and people with veneers. And out here, people don't give a fuck about their teeth if they still have them. Well, I hope you live in Riverside and you download this and you hate me. Fantastic. So I came out here because Eric finally got wise. He's like, you know what? I'm the guy who owns the equipment. Why the fuck am I driving 70 miles every week to get this on tape? And it is on tape, by the way. We got a big reel-to-reel because it's me and Ike Turner. We go ahead and just put it down, lay some tracks. So I'm in Riverside in Eric's palatial estate, and it is fantastic, I can tell you that. We had a big afternoon. I got here early. Not early. I got here right on time. 2:30 was when I was supposed to be here. I got here right at 2:30 a.m. I like to do my podcast very late. And I have Eric is a gun nut. I think that's the only way to put it. And I mean that in a very nice way, in the way that I would mean he is a guy who has a lot of guns, and if I wind up dead, he is suspect number 1. If you find me in a ditch somewhere with a 40, a 45, or a 44 Magnum hole in my head, go ahead and pin it on Eric and his goatee, because he absolutely dusted me. But I mentioned it because he's a gun guy. How much of a gun guy? The first week of the podcast, I went to help him load his car. He opens up his trunk, and there's bullets. Just laying around like confetti in his fucking trunk. Like some of us would have, I don't know, like maybe empty water bottles or something in our car, or some people might have fast food wrappers. This guy has shell casings in his fucking car, and I'm not lying. So I was like, well, you seriously are a gun guy, because he had told me he had a gun case that he brought some of the equipment in, and he's like, yeah, you want to go shooting sometime? And I'm 40 years old, never shot a gun in my life. Played guns, running around. But never shot a live round in my life. And I'm like, yes, of course I want to go shoot a fucking gun. Because one time last year, I apparently decided, you know what? Time to shoot a gun. You're old enough. Go ahead, do it. So I went with the only person you would think to bring to a shooting range, my wife. And we went to a place in Burbank, and they told us we needed to take a gun safety course for 6 hours before they'd rent us a gun. Bullshit on that. Not interested in knowing how to operate this thing. Show me what to point at and show me how to fucking shoot it. That's all I care about. I don't need some fucking nerd with a pointer and glasses going, well, here's the chamber, and then you've got the ejection rod. Fuck you. I just want to blow something up. So my wife and I bailed. Actually, she didn't. She applied for a job and took the course. No, she didn't. That would be weird. Wouldn't that be weird? No, we left. So I've never shot a gun. So I come to Eric's house today. He's like, dude, let's go. We're going to the shooting range. I said, fantastic. We go to the shooting range. And it's exactly what you would expect when you pull up. There's some old Marine with a fucking brush cut and a cigar right in the fucking doorway. We pull up and he's just like, how you fellas doing? Well, I'm much better now that I know Bulldog Turner is here to take my cash as I go shoot something. Fantastic. And he's just griping about his relief. I mean, he was perfect. He was a perfect old man. Like I said, crazy high and tight haircut, fucking huge cigar, and just bitching about everything. And really the definition of disgruntled. And that's exactly who you want working at a gun store, don't you? A guy who's bitching and finally decides, you know what? I'm actually 5 feet away from doing something about all my concerns. Whether he takes somebody out or himself, who knows? But watch for Bulldog Turner. His name's going to... That sounds like a football player from the 20s. Bulldog Turner opened his gun store. So we go to the gun shop. And it's not a gun shop. It's a shooting range. And you get to pick out a target, which is great because they have... my favorite is... Because they have targets which are just like the human silhouette with numbers on it. So you get like 8 for a headshot or 12 for a heart shot. But then they have the whimsical targets. Like the one that I picked... had it looked like an Amish guy holding a female security guard hostage, and you've got to try to shoot over her shoulder and hit him in the face so he lets her go. And I just can't wait to blow the shit out of the security guard. Seriously, I'm going to hang that up and just put 5 in her heart, 1 in her head, and shoot 2 in the air in celebration because it's fucking over for that chick. So we pick the targets out, we go and we pay. And Eric, meanwhile, is telling me what to do because I have no fucking idea. Believe me, I barely know how to walk in the door properly, let alone how to shoot the gun. Like I said, I'm going to point and shoot. That's it. I think it's a camera, apparently. I'm going to wind up... I got a Kodak. It's a 44 Kodak. It's fantastic. So we go into the room, and before we go in, he hands me the headphones, or the earmuffs, and he goes, put them on. I go, well, I'll put them on when I get in there. He's like, seriously, put them on. So I put them on, and then we got in there, and of course I took them off without telling Eric as he was showing me how to load the gun. And I still have the ringing in both of my ears as we speak. Because I'm like, well, I want to hear a fucking gunshot in its natural habitat. Fuck all this earmuff bullshit. Yeah, that's not a smart thing, folks. Imagine if you had your head in a bass drum, okay? And then someone shot a gun in it. I think that's the only way I can put it. Seriously, if you had your head in a bass drum and then someone shot a gun in the bass drum, that's the sound I have still in my fucking head. So I put the earmuffs back on immediately, and then Eric showed me how to do everything and told me, and I didn't hear a word of it because, again, I had 2 police sirens going off in my ears. So he gives me a 40. I'm going to use this is some technical parlance. You can look this up on the internet if you want, folks, but this is going to be very technical jargon from this point on. He hands me he's got a 40 Glock, and he had a 45 on his own. And he's showing me how to load the gun, and I'm loading the magazine. I'm putting the bullets in. There's a flat end and a round end, folks. Make sure you take care of that. Flat end, flat, round end, round. Slide it in, pull the thing back, and then you just start shooting. And here's another interesting thing that you should know about that Eric neglected to tell me. You should keep your thumbs out of the way at all times. Because I'm sitting here now staring at a black and blue, still oozing blood thumb on my left hand from slide bite. Is that what it's called? Slide bite. What it is I was shooting, and I squeezed off a couple rounds. I went sideways. I put my gat sideways like Lawrence Fishburne in King of New York, and that was fun. And I hit nothing. I think I might have hit the floor. I'm not sure. And then I put my hand up, and I put my thumb behind the slide, and the slide shot back, and oh, did it fuck my thumb up. And that was it. I was done at that point. And then Eric enticed me. I have to admit, I was finished. I go, seriously, I'm actually done. And he's like, oh, okay. Hey, I brought a 44 Magnum. You want to check that out? Yes. Are we talking about the most powerful handgun in the world? I'm going to blow your head clean off? I got to ask myself a question. Do I want to shoot that fucking gun? You're goddamn right I do. So he pulls it out, and it looks just like the movie. It's a crazy giant gun. And what's weird is the 40 was the one he had me shoot first. And I was awful at it. Like it was like a slingshot. It was like ping, 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 and that's the one that fucked my thumb up. But then when I shot the bigger guns, I liked those better because there was less recoil. It seemed like. And again, I hit nothing. I might as well. I would have hit the target more if I had somehow thrown the bullets at the target. I probably would have made better contact. But so I shot these guns. I shot like a couple of magazines in the 40. Shot the 45. Shot the 44 Magnum. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. I don't ever want to shoot a fucking gun again in my life. I did not like the feeling. I guess I'm call me a woman. I don't care what you want to call me, but and because we're in the car and I was quiet and it was weird. I had this weird feeling of foreboding about what I had just done. I know it's just fucking shooting a gun in a range, but it just felt all kinds of wrong. And Eric's like, hey, something you ever do again? No. I don't know why. I just, I didn't like the feeling. Because I'm a goof, man. I mean, that's the last thing I want to do is give a goof something that could actually kill somebody if he's not paying attention. And with my fucking ADHD, I'm sitting there, he's loading the magazine, and I'm just like, oh, look, a butterfly. I mean, I got no fucking idea about what's happening. So, yeah, so as far as guns, man, I am out. I am not interested. I apologize. Why am I sorry? Sorry, folks. I know you all wanted me to be into guns. Please, you hear me fucking talk. The last thing you want me to do is have guns. I'm fucking weird enough. All right. I get enough bad shit happening. I don't drink. It's weird. I don't drink and I don't like guns. Imagine if I drinked. Imagine if I drinked and liked guns. Imagine if I'd gone to high school and finished some sort of English course. That would be great. I wouldn't say things like drinked. So I don't have guns and I won't have guns. So please break into my home and know that you have to battle me with a baseball bat. There has to be hand-to-hand combat because you're not going to get shot. You know what? I'll tell you this. Yeah, my wife and I, we do volunteer work for one.org, which is a website that tries to end poverty, like it's Bono's thing. And I don't know if it's Bono's thing, but it's everybody's thing. But Bono seems to be the face of it. And by the way, my volunteer work we do, I mean, my wife volunteers to go to clothing drives, and I volunteer to stay home and play Xbox while she's doing that. See, I'm not good at the volunteering thing. I'm not good at helping and all that. I mean, here's the problem. You know what it is? I am just enough of a heart to sign up for a cause, and then I am just lazy enough to avoid those fucking people so I don't have to come through and fulfill that obligation. I will sign up. You got a petition? I'm on. You want something? Oh, you want my name and address? Absolutely. But the second they start fucking calling, all right, because this happened. We went to, my wife talked me into going to see a movie called Darfur Now. Darfur Now is it was a movie documenting the horrors of what's going on in Darfur. So Karen's like, well, let's go to that. And I'm like, well, sure. That sounds like fun. So we went, and we went to the Sunset 5, which is a crazy hipster movie theater in the middle of Hollywood that has the most uncomfortable fucking movie seats you've ever sat in your entire life. I think it's because of the serious of the film. They don't ever want you to be comfortable at all in any particular... These seats could not be less comfortable if they had a fucking dildo in the center of them and you were getting ass raped the entire time you were watching the film. So just horrible, stiff, rigid back, terrible. So my wife and I, we went to go see Darfur Now, and it's a movie. So we pay to go in, and we're ready to go in and watch Darfur Now. And I actually go to the concession stand, and I get myself a huge extra large popcorn, and I get some Raisinets, and I smuggled in a drink. I smuggled in because I do that, and because I'm not gonna because they don't sell the drink because I don't drink soda anymore. Because when I was Fat Mike, for those of you that don't know, I used to be really Fat Mike. Now I'm just a Fat Mike or Big Mike. But I used to drink soda by the gallon, but now I drink Propel all the time. So it's like I smuggle it into theaters and I have to jam it into my pants, and it looks like I have a crazy giant ribbed cock in my pant leg. So we go to who cares? So we go to the Darfur movie. I buy the concessions, and then we sit down, and then I watch a movie about the horrors of Darfur with Don Cheadle telling me that basically the people in Darfur get to eat nothing but a machete. That's basically what they have on their menu. Seriously, that is morning, noon, and night. These people get to eat a machete to the face. And I'm sitting there just jamming handfuls of fucking popcorn and Raisinets in my greasy face. So try feeling good about yourself after that. So I come walking out of the theater, and I got they've got a booth set up, like a card table with all this information about Darfur. And of course, one of the smug guys is there. He's got a clipboard, and he's and he's giving me the fisheye, because let's face it, I'm walking out of the Darfur movie, and to him, I must look like fucking Augustus Gloop from Willy Wonka with chocolate all over my fucking face, my fat head shining from greasy popcorn. And he immediately swoops in, and he's like, how did you feel about the movie? Did it affect you in any way? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course it did. I mean, it was terrible. My back is fucking killing me from those seats. And he's like, well, we're going ahead and trying to get people on board for some events here in California. And, if that movie was as powerful for you as it was for me, then maybe you'll go ahead and put your name on here and contribute some time. Absolutely. That's what I would love to do. If it means you'll stop fucking talking to me, let me sign that piece of paper. So I go ahead, and of course I write my name and my phone number down. And they always want your cell phone too. Like, they're going to catch you driving. Like, that's going to happen. You're ever on the road. Ring. Yes. This must be an important call. It's on my cell phone. Yeah. Hi, it's Bob from Darfur Now. Care to come here and hold a flag? No, I don't. I'm on a fucking cell phone. I can care less about hearing from you. So I never give my cell phone to those people. I give my home number. And then the blizzard of calls starts. I mean, I don't know how many events. I don't know if they're trying to save Darfur in a day or a week. But they called me, I think they called me literally 5 days in a row. One time they called me twice in a day. I somehow got on some Save Darfur telemarketing phone list. I almost wanted to put myself on a do not call, do not save Darfur list, like the federal list. I was going to call up and do that. And they keep calling. It's so fucking bad that now, like, I put on a fake mustache before I even answer the phone to get into character for the fucking lie I'm going to tell. I mean, I don't want to go to this rally. So that's why I don't go to these volunteer things so much. Because again, I'm a sap and I'll sign up. But then when it comes time to follow through, I am out. Couldn't be less interested. But because my wife volunteers, we get these invites sometimes to events that are, they aren't, I guess it's a way for them to give back to the people who've helped them through the years. So we got invited yesterday to it was a rally it was for the one.org Save Against Poverty. And it was at the Ben & Jerry's ice cream store in Burbank. And it was going to have Ben & Jerry's. And they were giving away, Ben & Jerry have come up with a new ice cream flavor to fight poverty. And which I think is fucking brilliant. Because I think, let me tell you something, if you're going to fight poverty, by all means, eradicate poverty by increasing the obesity problem in this fucking country. That's great. That's what we want, is a lot of fat rich people running around. God damn it, let's get rid of poverty right now. So they created cheesecake brownie ice cream, one cheesecake brownie, and they're giving away free. And they had a big like a rally. Ben & Jerry themselves were actually there, which was convenient, so I could go ahead and give them a bill for my fucking fat guy surgery, because half of it's their fucking fault as I chugged pints of their fucking goo. And also Ben & Jerry were there, and Daughtry was there. The band Daughtry was going to be there, and also the African Children's Choir was there. And after the fucking, I was hesitant to go because after the fucking Darfur extravaganza that I went through at the, and by the way, you remember Darfur extravaganza? They're a fantastic band. They opened for Fela Kuti in the 90s. And so after the Darfur thing, I'm like really hesitant to go do any of these things. But Karen's like, let's just go. I promise I won't let you sign anything. So believe me, that's fine with me. As long as I'm not, don't get me near a pen, I'm happy to go. So we go to this thing. Ben & Jerry are there. And, a small crowd starts together, and then Daughtry shows up and his band. So before Daughtry, we get to see the African Children's Choir, and they come out and they do a couple of songs, which is great. They got drums, and they're dancing, and they're singing, and they're doing the thing that basically makes every white person realize that they really need to pull that Paul Simon album back out again because they enjoyed it so much 15 years ago. But is that enjoyable for the African Children's Choir? I mean, I understand that, they're singing and dancing, which seems like it would be fun, but at the same time, don't you think they'd rather be at home? Although I guess at home, really, you're just trying to avoid the fly and dirt stew that everybody's eating and hoping that the warlord doesn't come steal the grain. but here, contrast that. You've got the warlords over there trying to steal the grain. Contrast that to being over here and dancing on some fucking fake ramp in front of a Ben & Jerry's watching white tourists stuff their face with goddamn ice cream. That can't be too nice either. Yeah, I don't know. That's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, quite frankly. Although less flies in Burbank, I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen the videotapes from those African continents. There's several. There's several African continents. Holy fuck, what is wrong with me? Oh, man. That's what happens when you just talk in circles, folks. Sometimes you do ahead and spit that out. You do ahead or you go ahead. God bless. Cut my throat. Shoot me, Eric. You're the guy with the guns. All right. So we see the African Children's Choir, and they do their thing. And then Ben & Jerry go up, and they give a speech all about ending poverty as the two of them ate ice cream cones. And while the African Children's Choir left, I don't even think they got free ice cream, quite frankly. They just they packed up their fucking drums into their knapsacks and then snuck out the back door. I don't know if they had another gig somewhere else to go and remind people about Ladysmith Black Mambazo. I don't know what happened, but they had to go ahead and take care of it. These guys are very much in demand. The African Children's Choir, they've got to move on. They've got to go. You know what? We can't stick around and watch Daughtry and his bullshit. We've got to take off right now. So Ben & Jerry give their speech saying, please eradicate poverty by putting money in our pockets. And then Daughtry is standing there with his band. And Daughtry comes up to speak, and everybody's there basically to see Daughtry. And he gives a nice speech, and he talks about how he they just recently got back from Uganda, where they saw the horrors of this themselves firsthand. And that's got to be, it's a devastating trip for them, and it's very moving and something they'll never forget. But that has got to be a fucking whiff for the African orphans who are waiting at the airport, don't you think? I mean, seriously, they tell them that some American celebrity's coming to town. They go ahead and bust out their best dashiki, praying Angelina Jolie or Madonna gets off the plane, hoping to scoop them up and take them back to fucking New York. And sure enough, fucking the third runner-up from season 5 of American Idol hops off with his grunge band. Yeah, great. That's what these kids are waiting for their whole fucking time. Oh my God, please do Going Home. So Daughtry walks off the plane. He's in Uganda, and he talks about it for like 6 minutes, and that's great. He was affected by it, and that's fantastic. Because it's a weird line, man, when you're a celebrity, because if you if you don't do anything, people call you like a scumbag who just is money hungry and you do that. But then if you try to do something, people are just waiting to fucking poke holes in you and make fun of you. So it's a tough gig. I respect him for going and and I know he listens to this. So Chris, really, I'm down with you. Here's what I'm not down with. We listened to Chris talk about his experience in Uganda. He went right after Ben and Jerry. So you would imagine it's Ben and Jerry and then Chris and we're done, right? No. After Chris Daughtry talks, the guy from Daughtry who's not Chris Daughtry steps up to the microphone, and he's going to regale us with tales about Uganda and how he felt about it. Really, bass player? Fantastic. Glad to hear you were so affected by the fucking Ugandan trip. Hey, you might want to ask Chris for your paycheck so you can go and cash it and quit bothering me with your fucking crap. So then, other guy who's not Chris Daughtry in Daughtry, he bellies up to the microphone and he tells me about Uganda. And then guy with mohawk from Daughtry, who isn't Chris Daughtry, he decides he's got a tale to tell about his trip to Uganda. And at this point, I'm hoping that there's enough free ice cream for me to just start fucking whipping fastballs at these guys' heads because I can't believe it. And then sure enough, there's one last guy who in Daughtry who is not Chris Daughtry, and he steps up to the microphone and he actually says this. Hey, just because we're eradicating poverty doesn't mean it doesn't have to be fun. Yes, I'm sure that's what all of the orphans in Africa are thinking right now. Christ, this poverty is really a drag. If only we had a paddle ball and a second-rate rock band, we would have so much fun kicking poverty's ass. Honestly, stick to the drums. So after we hear from the never-ending band of Daughtry, honestly, all of them had a tale to tell about this. We get David Lane, who is the CEO and I don't know if he's the CEO of one.org. And David Lane comes up. He thanks everybody, which his CEO does. And he also mentions Daughtry's trip to Uganda. And he says, yeah, I talked to my contacts in Uganda, and he said it was a very successful trip. Really? Your contacts in Uganda got back to you? How was that, by telegram, or they sent up a smoke signal? Just stop. Constantine Morales was fantastic. Everybody enjoyed his visit. Stop. Constantine Morales, by the way, is a guy from American Idol from a million years ago. Never mind. That was funny to me, and it would be funnier if I had an audience. Right, everybody who keeps writing me telling me to get an audience? Do you understand, folks, when you tell me that I should get an audience to laugh at what I'm talking about? That's my job. I go do stand-up for audiences who laugh at my jokes. The podcast, it'd be really hard for me to wrangle up an audience. Unless I went to the mall and just started recording it live there, and believe me, they don't think I'm very funny at the mall anymore. So the event ends. And I should tell you this because the event can't just go off without a hitch. No, it can't just go ahead and end and have everything fine. I should tell you, I almost got into a fight at the one.org event. Again, another reason why I never leave my fucking house unless I'm coming to Riverside. I wind up, first we show up early and then we sit in the theater. Not the theater, we sit in the, take that again. We show up early, Karen and I. It's supposed to start at like 2 o'clock. So we get there at like 1:50. And we actually go into the Ben & Jerry's itself. And we're sitting there. And then they close Ben & Jerry's because they're going to shoot a bunch of B-roll with Daughtry and Ben & Jerry's scooping ice cream. So I should mention, by the way, the one.org has security at this place as if the president was visiting to go ahead and give a speech. There's guys in suits and ties and headsets. We literally walked up and Karen goes, why is the Secret Service here? So that's not the Secret Service. That's the very self-important one.org security, because apparently someone's going to assassinate the guys who want to eradicate poverty because there is such... You can't tackle big poverty in this country, folks. You don't want to poke that fucking bee's nest. You can't tackle big poverty in this country, folks. You don't want to poke that hornet's nest with a stick and have them swarm out at you. So these guys have security to make sure nothing goes down. So a guy gives me, as they're closing the restaurant, a guy walks up and he goes, sir, I'm going to need you to wait outside because we're about to have the event. And I said, okay, great. Where do we go? He goes, oh, just go over here on the patio. Great. So we go out to the patio. And we sit down at the patio. And they're getting some people ready. And another security guard in a suit comes over and goes, sir, listen, you can't be here. This is for press only. You can't be here on the patio. There is nobody on the patio. There's nothing but empty tables and chairs and I think a lens cap. Maybe that counts as press? I don't know. The lens cap? But my wife and I are standing there and he's like, sir, seriously, you can. And he acts as if I've been there. Like I pitched a tent and I'm just camping out for tickets. He comes over and goes, sir, seriously, you can't be on the patio. All right, I get it. I said, okay, we can't go in there and I can't be on the patio. He told me to come out here. Where should we go? Go stand over here, sir. Fantastic. So we go stand off to the side and now I have like one of the ice cream cups we had. It's empty, so I go to throw it away. I walk over, and this time a third security guard, different guy, still a suit, still a headset. I don't know if they are all talking to one another, that apparently I'm a problem in this 4 square foot area. But this guy actually grabs me by the arm and goes, "Sir, this is for press, okay? You need to go ahead and move on to the side where everybody..." And, you know, at this point, fuck it. You put your hands on me, that's it. So I yank my fucking arm, and I swell up like a fucking Cobra hood. And I go, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing putting your hands on me?" And he goes, "Sir, you need to calm down." I need to calm down. You fucking grabbed me. So now I'm going to fight a guy at the one.org charity organization. And now it dawns on me, maybe this is why they have so much security, because a fucking bonehead like me shows up and is going to clothesline someone in the middle of a goddamn press event. So I swell up and I get in the face and I go, "Hey, look, don't put your hands on me. It's fine." And he goes, "Sir, this is an event and it's going to lay a lot of pressure." And I go, "Look, I'm invited to this event. Would you like to see that fucking invitation?" And he goes, "No, sir, I don't need to see your invitation, but you need to stand over there." And of course, at that point, there's 2 things you can do. You can go stand over there, or you can punch this guy in the fucking chest. I went and stood over there. 10 years ago, I might have punched this guy in the fucking chest, which would not have been smart, because I still would have gone to fucking jail, because I would have been 30. But as you get older, you realize, and I'll tell you why, because I've been going to, I actually started going to therapy, and it's working. Obviously it's working, or else security guard number 3 would have been fucking flipped over a table, and then there would have been a crazy pie ice cream bar fight, and Ben and Jerry would have been wounded, and there would have been a fucking story you would have read about before this came out. So I walk over to my wife, and now, you know, and this was in full view of people. People saw it, and you know, and I'm 6'2", 280, so anytime like I get mad, everybody gets on their alert, because they're like, that guy could fucking do some serious damage. We got to watch the fuck out. So I walk over to Karen. And the good news is, by the way, as we all know now, I will never do that damage with a gun. It is just going to be me hitting people and then falling down. So I go to Karen, and a woman comes over really fast. And she says, "Oh, we're really sorry about that." I said, "I understand." I go, "But, you know, the thing is, we've been kicked out of 3 different spots, and that guy actually grabbed me." She goes, "I know, he was a little overzealous. Here, we want you to have this. We apologize." And they give us like 31 wristbands. Not 31 wristbands, 30 wristbands for the one organization. They're like the white, like the Lance Armstrong. I was going to say Louis Armstrong. Remember that Louis Armstrong bracelet that we all wore? Oh, it's a wonderful world, isn't it? So they gave us those bracelets and some pins, and then she handed us a stack of no less than 15 free pints of Ben & Jerry's that you can use at the grocery store. And part of me was like, and again, there's 2 ways you can look at that. You can be like, they were like, "Here, fatty, calm down and have some ice cream," which, of course, that's where my mind first went. But then I thought about it, and it's just like, do you really want to give me ice cream? You see that I'm walking around on edge, right? It's just like, "Hey, fat fuck, go ahead and get some sugar down your gullet so you can do some real damage." That'd be fantastic, because you're not hopped up enough for us. We want to see you really go off. So why don't you just go ahead and eat so much ice cream you actually start to fucking vibrate? Could you do that? But everything was fine. So then, you know, Daughtry, everybody talked, and everything turned out to be okay. And but like I said, I've been going to a therapist since a couple of weeks ago, and it's working. Here's how I know it's working. Karen and I are at a stoplight, and a homeless guy walked past us in the crosswalk. And if you know anything about homeless guys, other than the fact that my wife likes to feed them on Thanksgiving or hand them coats, you know that they don't like being looked at. At least the crazy ones don't. So this guy's walking in front of us at a crosswalk, and he's talking to himself. He's doing that thing. And he all of a sudden, he looks up at us, and he sees that we're looking at him, and he fucking wheels and whips something at the car. It's like a lollipop or something, and he fucking throws it, and it hits the car and bings off. Now, again, but pre-therapy, old Mike would have come flying out of that fucking car and eaten that guy's heart right there in the fucking crosswalk. But now, relatively calm Mike thinks to himself, "Hey, do you really want to wrestle with a fucking stinky homeless guy in the middle of the crosswalk?" And because let's face it, if you have a fight in the crosswalk, that inconveniences everybody at that point. But and also, but what's so funny is I've actually done that. I had a fight at a fucking crosswalk once when I was a kid. This is in like 1985, 6. We went to see Bruce Springsteen on the Born in the USA tour, and it was one of those shows at Soldier Field, which is in Chicago, and it's like 70,000 people. And this is crazy Bruce. This is, 4 hours and fucking insanity Bruce. And it's the middle of summer, so we actually get to Soldier Field early because it's general admission. So we're going to just charge in and just fucking go crazy Who concert and camp out on the field. Well, they won't let us in for a while, so we're sitting there, And we bring a vodka infused watermelon. And by infused, I mean we took a small watermelon and I think we poured 4 bottles of vodka into it. And then we cut it open and it all ran out. It turned into liquid because we're stupid. We're 18 years old. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing. So all of us are drinking out of, we got a straw in the watermelon drinking that. And by everybody, by the way, I mean my friends, because I don't drink. And then we brought like a little hibachi and we're like, hey, this will be great. We'll actually cook out waiting for Bruce, not realizing that it's a show. What the fuck are you going to do at the grill when it's time to go into the show? Idiot. So we wound up throwing away the hibachi when it was time to go in. So anyway, we charge in and it's hot. It's like July. So it's, 95 degrees, downtown Chicago, humid. We get there at 5 a.m. We're out front lined up. They finally let us into the stadium at 2. Then we're waiting for the show. Then the show happens. And it's that feeling at the end of the day when you've been out in the sun all day and you're beat and you can't move and you're fucking sweaty and you stink, but the show was great. So you're kind of got an adrenaline high and we're leaving. So it's a big beehive of activity outside Soldier Field. And we get in my buddy's car and we're driving. We come to a crosswalk. It's just me, 3 of my friends, and my buddy Dennis's Firebird. And 2 guys walk in front of the car, and we're in the crosswalk. So my friend honks. He's in the crosswalk. He's at fault, but he fucking honks. This guy turns around and throws something at the car that I think, honestly, at first I thought it was a piece of plastic wrap. Because it didn't even hit he may have just thrown a puff of smoke at the car. This could have been a magician. I have no idea what he did. He may have just been casting a spell. He might have been a gypsy. I have no idea. But he turned around and made a throwing motion at the car. And there was a beat. And again, we're so tired. We've had an incredible day. We just want to go home. But sure enough, my friend Dennis just goes, get him. And stupid me, I got him. I come flying out of the fucking Firebird and I come charging at this guy. And he's already cocked and loaded. He punches me in the face right when I get to him. I hit him with a 2-hander to the throat. We go down. I'm punching him in the head, and he's actually biting my arm because I was going to put my forearm in his neck, and he actually got it in his mouth. I'm punching him in the face, and then it gets broken up. And the one thing to my credit is I'll be fucking insane, and I immediately revert back to me. Like it's like I'm very much David Banner, and then I'll be the Hulk, but I'm not the Hulk for like 15 minutes like David Banner was. I'll be the Hulk for like 5 seconds and all of a sudden I'm fucking David Banner again. And I'm like, what's going on? Jesus, what's everybody freaking out about? Well, I don't know, because you just fucking went bananas and green skinned everybody in this whole fucking room. So sure enough, we're rolling on the ground. I'm fucking hitting this guy and I get dragged off him and I turn around and I cock my fist and it's a lady police. It's a cop. It's a lady cop. And she goes, calm down. And I immediately I drop my hands to my sides. I go, I'm cool. And luckily for me, the other guy was not cool. So he stood up and he punched the cop that was holding him. He punched him and then also landed one on the lady cop trying to get at me. And since they see I'm not a problem anymore, they immediately turned their attention to that guy trying to subdue him. And I hopped in the Firebird and we got the fuck out of there. I hopped in the car. We drove another stoplight and it was just silence in the car. And I'm bleeding. And my friend just goes, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally 20 minutes ago, the change was made uptown and the big man joined the band. And then next thing you know, I'm in a fucking scrum in the middle of a crosswalk in Chicago. Ridiculous. So I guess the moral of that is maybe I should have gotten the therapy 30 years ago. That probably would have helped everybody. Although then I would have been 10. No. Yeah, well, maybe then it would have been a preemptive strike. I don't know. All right. Well, that's it. That's your 40-year-old boy podcast this week. I want to thank everybody who's been downloading and want to thank everybody who's been writing me. I want to spend a special thank you to my friend Eric Butterfield, who is going ahead and producing this podcast out of the goodness of his heart and free meals. And I do appreciate it very much. Although you got to move out of this fucking town, pal. I am telling you, it is just a town that is full of worry. I am not interested in being here any second longer. So you guys can always reach me, Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can go ahead and write me there, or just go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com for any appearances and or communiques that'll be going up. You can go to MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy, and you can go to both of those places and hear the podcast, or you can go to iTunes and subscribe through iTunes. And please leave some feedback there or send me an email and let me know what you think about what's going on. And please, by all means, write me and tell me how much you think I need an audience. That would be fantastic. So that's it. We'll see you next week. This is Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Again, MikeSchmidtComedy.com, MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. And you can always write me, Mike, at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And why wouldn't you? Go ahead and send me a note. Because you know what I like to do is I like to read your notes, and then I go ahead and obsess about them, and then I go ahead and I bring them up to you when I talk to you the next time, the next week. I go to Riverside.
folks. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a decent guy because I am a jerk, and I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy, but I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jag-off. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jag-off. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. 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 You're finished.